Hello there and welcome. We all have dreams, don't we? Those big, ambitious ideas that really get us excited. But how do we keep them from just staying dreams? Well, today we are diving deep into a masterclass on goal setting, the art and the science of building that bridge that turns those dreams into your actual reality. So let's jump in. Here's our game plan. We've broken this whole journey down into 5 acts. First, we'll tackle the big why, the real psychological power behind setting goals. Then we'll get super practical with some amazing frameworks. Think of it as your architect's toolkit. After that, it's all about execution, about creating your master plan. We'll also get real about the common pitfalls. And finally, we'll wrap up with some serious inspiration. So let's kick things off with Act 1, Why Goals Matter. Before you can build anything incredible, you have to understand the ground you're building on. This is the foundation for everything. I just love this quote because it nails it perfectly. A dream, it's kind of out there, right? It's a wish floating in the clouds. But a goal? A goal is the structure, it's the plan, it's the active work of building a solid path from where you are right now to where you really want to be. It makes the impossible possible. And honestly, the impact of setting goals it's huge. It touches almost every part of our psychological well-being. When you set a clear goal, you're basically giving yourself a mental roadmap. It gives you direction and helps you tune out all the noise. And that focus, it's a natural motivation booster. It also makes decisions way easier. You can just ask yourself, hey, does this get me closer to my goal? As you start hitting those smaller goals, you build what's called self-efficacy, which is really just a powerful belief in your own ability to get things done. And that cycle, well, it boosts your confidence, gives you a sense of purpose, and, you guessed it, leads to a much more satisfying life. And listen, this isn't just some feel-good advice. It is backed by decades of solid research. People started studying this stuff way back in 1935, but it was a guy named Edwin Locke in the 60s who really figured it out. He's the one who proved that specific, challenging goals lead to way higher performance than just saying, I'll try my best. He and another researcher, Gary Latham, spent the next 30 years tweaking and perfecting the theory, turning it into the powerhouse tool that we have today. Okay, so we've got the why locked in. Now for Act 2, let's build on that. It's time to open up the Architect's Toolkit and check out 3 seriously powerful frameworks you can use to design and structure your goals for massive success. First up, we've got the classic, the OG, SMART goals. You've probably heard of this one, and for good reason. It is absolutely brilliant at taking a fuzzy idea and turning it into something concrete you can actually act on. It really forces you to get crystal clear about what you're trying to achieve. So here's how it all breaks down. Let's use an example. Saying, I want to get in shape is a wish, right? It's not a goal. Let's make it SMART. For specific, I will lose 10 pounds. For measurable, well, those 10 pounds can be tracked on a scale. For achievable, yeah, that's a tough but realistic target. For relevant, it fits my bigger goal of being healthier. And finally, time-bound. I'm going to do it in the next 3 months. All of a sudden, get in shape becomes I will lose 10 pounds in 3 months by exercising 3 times a week and eating right. See the difference? Now that is a real goal. All right, next tool in the box, OKRs. It stands for Objectives and Key Results. This is the framework that was born at Intel and then made famous by Google. It's designed for those huge, ambitious, gotta reach for the stars kinds of goals. The objective is your big, inspiring what, and the key results are the measurable hows that prove you're actually making progress. Think of it like you're on a mission, and these are your measurable checkpoints. So how do you know which one to pick? Well, this lays it out beautifully. SMART goals, they're perfect for your individual, clearly defined projects, just like that weight loss example. They give you a simple, clear structure. OKRs, on the other hand, they're built for the bigger stuff, the more aspirational missions. Whether that's for your team at work or a huge personal life goal, like John Doerr's goal to have more quality family time. His objective was about the feeling, but his key results, like being home for dinner 20 nights a month, were totally concrete and measurable. And our final tool is a really powerful mental strategy called WOOP. It stands for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, Plan. Now, WOOP is unique because it makes you get real with yourself. You start with your wish and you really visualize the best possible outcome. But then, and this is the absolute game changer, you have to identify your main internal obstacle. What is it inside of you that's going to get in your way? Then you make a simple if-then plan. If this obstacle shows up, then I will do this specific action. It's an incredible way to prepare yourself for the hurdles you know are coming. All right, on to Act 3.
We know our why, we've picked our framework. Now it is time to go from planning to doing. This is where the rubber meets the road. People, this is the art of execution where we build the master plan that's going to guide us all the way to the finish line.
You've heard it before. A goal without a plan is just a wish. And it's so true. The very first, most important step is to break that big goal down. I mean, if your goal is to write a book, that just feels overwhelming. But write one chapter this week? Hey, that's doable. From there, you build out your action plan with steps, deadlines, everything you need. You figure out which tasks give you the most bang for your buck and do those first. And you have to track your progress. This is non-negotiable. Knowing where you are is a huge motivator. And lastly, you gotta be flexible. A plan is a guide, not a prison. You have to be ready to pivot and adjust as you go. Of course, to execute a plan, you need fuel, and that fuel is motivation. So how do you keep that fire lit when you're on a long journey? First, visualize what success looks and feels like. Really picture it. Second, get an accountability partner. Seriously, just telling someone your goal makes you way more likely to do it. Third, you have to reward yourself for hitting those milestones. Celebrate the small wins. It makes the whole process so much more fun. And when you feel that motivation starting to fade, reconnect with your why, that deep reason you started this in the first place. And finally, set up your environment for success. Cut out the distractions and surround yourself with people who lift you up. And what's running under the surface of all of this? The science of building habits. The habit loop is a simple but really powerful idea. There's a cue, which is the trigger, that kicks off a routine, which is the action, and that leads to a reward. Once you understand this, you can start designing the habits you need to succeed. So let's say you want to meditate every morning. Your cue could be finishing your first cup of coffee. The routine is meditating for 5 minutes, and the reward is that awesome feeling of calm afterwards. You just keep repeating that loop, and pretty soon, the behaviors that get you to your goal become automatic. Okay, time for Act 4. Let's talk about the reality check. To be really successful, we have to be honest about the tough stuff. This part is all about navigating those common pitfalls and even some of the hidden dangers that can pop up along the way. Now, this might sound a little over the top, but it's a real question we need to ask. We always think of goals as this universally good thing, but if we don't manage them well, can they actually do more harm than good? Well, the research says, yeah, they can. Yep, researchers have actually identified what they call a dark side to goal setting. When you're intensely focused on one thing, it can create tunnel vision, right? You start neglecting other really important parts of your life. It can also push people to take crazy risks or even cheat just to hit a number. Think about the infamous case at Ford, where the pressure to build a car under a certain weight led to some really dangerous safety problems. And finally, if you focus too much on the external reward, you can kill your own internal motivation, that simple joy you get from doing the thing itself. So here's the big takeaway. Goals are an incredible tool, but they need to be your compass, not a pair of blinders. So, beyond those big, deep risks, there are the more common, practical mistakes we all tend to make. You know, setting goals that are way too vague or just totally unrealistic, which basically sets you up to fail. Or not breaking them down so you're just constantly feeling overwhelmed, having no real plan of attack, forgetting to track your progress so you have no clue if you're even moving in the right direction. And then, of course, there are the big two, procrastination and being afraid to fail. Just think of this list as your friendly what not to do checklist. And that brings us to our final act, lessons from a lifetime. We've gone through the plans, we've navigated the pitfalls, so let's end this with a shot of pure inspiration and wisdom. Let's look at how we can build the resilience and the support we need to go the distance. These stories just perfectly capture one of the most vital lessons of all, perseverance. I mean, think about Walt Disney. He was rejected so many times and had so many business failures before Mickey Mouse was even a thing. And Colonel Sanders? The guy was 65 years old before Kentucky Fried Chicken took off, after getting rejected literally thousands of times for decades. Their stories are such a powerful reminder that the path to a truly great goal is almost never a straight line. It's going to be full of bumps, and your willingness to just keep going, that's often what separates success from failure. And here's some good news. You don't have to walk that bumpy path all by yourself. Finding a mentor can be an absolute game changer. A good mentor can give you advice from their own experience, help you see around corners, and keep you accountable. And finding one might be easier than you think. Start with the people you already know. Join some industry groups or online communities related to your goal. Go to events, check out mentorship platforms, and most importantly, don't ever be afraid to just reach out to someone you admire and ask for a little bit of their time and guidance. So, we're going to leave you with one final, very powerful question to think about. And I want you to take a moment and really consider it. What is the one goal that, if you actually achieved it, would fundamentally change your life for the better? Find it. Name it. Then use the tools we've talked about today to make it real and start building that bridge from your dream to your new reality. Thanks so much for joining us.